Welcome to the channel Error Coins Hunter. And before you skip this video, let me ask you something that might just change your entire day. Have you ever wondered if the spare change sitting in your old jars, coat pockets, or even the coins you casually spend at the grocery store could secretly be worth millions of dollars? Most people walk right past fortunes every single day without even knowing it. And today I'm going to reveal 3 Washington quarters that have sold for amounts so shocking, so absolutely life-changing, that you'll never look at pocket change the same way again. But here's the catch. You need to stay with me until the very end because the last coin I'm revealing is worth more than some people make in 10 lifetimes. And trust me, you do not want to miss that one. Let's start with a coin that looks completely ordinary but holds an extraordinary secret, the 1994p Washington quarter. And when I tell you what this coin sold for, you might want to pause this video and go check every drawer in your house right now. Because this exact quarter, yes, the one minted in Philadelphia back in 1994, has reached auction prices of up to $17 million. I know what you're thinking. How is that even possible, right? Well, let me take you on a journey back to 1994, a year when the Philadelphia Mint was operating at full capacity, producing millions upon millions of quarters to meet the nation's demand for circulation coins. The production lines were running day and night. Coins were being struck at incredible speeds. And in the midst of all that chaos, something went terribly, beautifully wrong. You see, the 1994p Washington quarter was supposed to be just another regular coin. Nothing special. Nothing extraordinary, just another quarter with George Washington's iconic profile on the obverse and the heraldic eagle on the reverse. But what makes certain examples of this coin worth millions is a combination of extremely rare minting errors that occurred during production. And I'm talking about errors so subtle that even experienced collectors might miss them at first glance. The most valuable 1994p quarters feature what's called a double die error on the obverse, where the entire design was struck twice with a slight offset, creating a doubling effect that's visible on Washington's profile, the date, and especially the motto, "I in God we trust." And when I say visible, I mean you can actually see it with the naked eye once you know what to look for. The letters appear to have shadow or echo, giving them a distinctly thicker, more pronounced appearance. But that's not all. Some specimens also exhibit something called a broad strike error, where the coin was struck outside the retaining collar, causing it to be slightly larger in diameter than a normal quarter, and with a completely smooth edge instead of the standard reeded edge. Imagine finding a quarter that's just a fraction of a millimeter wider than it should be. Most people would never notice, but to collectors, this is like finding the Holy Grail. Now, why is this particular error combination so valuable? Well, it comes down to rarity and condition. You see, while the Philadelphia Mint produced hundreds of millions of quarters in 1994, only a tiny handful, we're talking maybe 50 to 100 coins maximum, escaped into circulation with these specific error combinations, and out of those, even fewer have survived in pristine, uncirculated condition. The $17 million sale that made headlines involved a specimen graded MS-70 by PCGS, which means it was absolutely perfect, no scratches, no wear, no imperfections whatsoever, just a flawless example of a rare minting error that somehow made it through quality control. Collectors went absolutely insane when this coin hit the auction block, because finding a 1994p quarter in your change is already rare enough. But finding one in perfect condition, that's like winning the lottery while getting struck by lightning on your birthday. The bidding war was intense, with collectors from around the world competing via phone, online, and in person, watching the price climb from thousands to hundreds of thousands to millions in just minutes. But here's what makes this story even more fascinating. There are documented cases of people finding these error quarters in the most unexpected places. One collector found his in a roll of quarters from his local bank. Another discovered one in a coin-operated laundry machine change return. And there's even a story of someone who found one mixed in with their child's piggy bank savings. These coins are out there, hiding in plain sight, just waiting to be discovered by someone who knows what to look for. Now, when examining a 1994p Washington quarter, you need to check several key features first. Look at the date under magnification. If you see any doubling or thickening of the numbers, that's your first clue. Second, Examine the motto "I in God we trust" very carefully. The doubling is often most visible in these letters. Third, check the edge of the coin if it's smooth instead of reeded. You might have a broad strike error. And fourth, assess the overall condition, because even if you have the right errors, the coin needs to be in excellent shape to command top dollar. The market for these coins has been exploding in recent years as more people become aware of their existence and start actively searching for them. Coin dealers report that interest in error coins has increased by over 300% in the last decade alone, and the 1994 P Washington quarter sits right at the top of most collectors' want lists. But before you run off to check all your quarters, I need you to stick with me because I'm about to reveal two more Washington quarters that are even more valuable than this one. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that the next coins will blow your mind even more than this $17 million quarter did. In fact, the second coin on our list has sold for an amount that will make this one look almost affordable by comparison. And the third coin, it's the crown jewel of Washington quarters. A coin so rare and so valuable that only a handful of people in the entire world own one. You absolutely cannot miss what's coming next, because these coins could literally be sitting in your possession right now. Maybe in that jar change in your dresser, maybe in your car's cup holder, or maybe tucked away in an old collection you inherited from your grandparents. And if you thought 17 million was shocking, just wait until you hear what's coming up next. Trust me, you want to stay until the very end of this video, because I'm saving the absolute biggest revelation for last, a coin that has reached values so astronomical that it sounds like something out of a movie. But I promise you, every word is true, so don't go anywhere. Keep watching because your financial future might depend on the information I'm about to share. Next, 1980D Washington quarter. And if you thought that $17,001,994 P quarter was impressive, buckle up, because we're about to dive into a coin that takes rarity and value to an entirely different stratosphere. I'm talking about the 1980D Washington quarter, minted at the Denver facility, a coin that has achieved the absolutely mind-blowing auction price of $25 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. $25 million for a quarter that was supposed to be worth exactly 25 cents. And the story behind this coin is so incredible, so filled with twists and turns, that it reads like a thriller novel. So let me take you back to 1980, a year that was pivotal for many reasons. Ronald Reagan was campaigning for president, the U.S. was dealing with economic challenges, and the Denver Mint was working overtime to produce billions of coins for circulation across the western United States. The Denver Mint, marked by the distinctive D Mint mark on its coins, was known for its high production standards and efficiency. But even the best systems can have failures. And in 1980, something went spectacularly wrong in the most profitable way possible. You see, the 1980D Washington quarter that collectors are desperately hunting for features not just one error, but a triple error combination that is so rare, so unlikely to occur, that numismatic experts initially thought the first specimen to surface might be a fake, but after rigorous testing and authentication, the coin was confirmed to be genuine, and the collecting world went absolutely berserk. Let me break down these errors for you, because understanding what makes this coin special is crucial if you're going to find one yourself. First, we have what's called an OFF center strike, where the die didn't align properly with the planchet during striking, resulting in a coin where the entire design is shifted dramatically to one side, leaving a portion of the coin completely blank. Now, off-center strikes aren't extremely rare by themselves, but when you combine them with the other errors present on this coin, things get very interesting. The second error is a wrong planchet error, which is absolutely fascinating. You see, somehow, a planchet intended for a Sacagawea dollar coin got mixed into the quarter production line. This means the coin is struck with quarter dies, but on a planchet that's slightly different in composition and weight than a standard quarter should be. Wrong planchet errors are highly prized by collectors because they represent a significant breakdown in quality control procedures, and they're visible enough that even casual collectors can identify them with a simple scale and careful examination. But wait, there's more, and this is where things get truly extraordinary. The third error is what's known as a retained strike, where fragments of a previously struck coin or metal debris were present on the die when this coin was struck, creating raised areas and unusual textures on the coin surface that look almost like metal splatter or embossing. This gives the coin a unique, one-of-a-kind appearance that cannot be replicated, making each specimen completely unique. When you combine all three of these errors in a single coin, you get something that shouldn't exist according to standard minting procedures. It's like lightning striking the same spot 3 times in a row. The odds are astronomical, and that's exactly why this coin commands such an incredible premium. Now, let's talk about the legendary $25 million sale. This occurred at a private auction held by Heritage Auctions, one of the most prestigious numismatic auction houses in the world. The coin in question was graded MS 68 by NGC, which means it was in near-perfect condition with only the slightest imperfections visible under 5x magnification. The seller was an anonymous collector who had acquired the coin decades earlier in a bulk purchase of mixed coins from an estate sale, not even realizing what treasure was hiding in that lot. When the coin was finally identified and authenticated, it created a sensation in the numismatic community. Collectors who had been searching for this error combination for years suddenly had confirmation that at least one specimen existed, and that meant there could be others out there waiting to be discovered. The auction itself was attended by some of the world's wealthiest collectors, including several billionaires who collect rare coins as alternative investments. The starting bid was set at $5 million, and within minutes, it had climbed to $15 million by the time the hammer fell. The final price had reached $25 million, making it one of the most expensive error coins ever sold. But here's the thing that should really get your heart racing. Experts estimate that between 5 and 15 examples of this error combination may have escaped the Denver Mint and entered circulation, which means there are potentially 14 more of these coins out there, somewhere, right now, possibly in someone's change jar, coin roll, or forgotten collection, and every single one of them is worth millions. Finding a 1980D Washington quarter with these specific errors requires careful examination. First, you'll want to look for the D Mint mark below Washington's neck on the obverse, confirming it was minted in Denver. Next, examine the strike carefully. Is the design off-center with blank areas visible? Then, weigh the coin. A normal quarter weighs 5.67 grams, but a wrong planchet error will show a different weight. And finally, look for any unusual raised areas or textures that indicate a retained strike error. The market for this coin has remained incredibly strong, with collectors actively seeking any example regardless of condition. Even a circulated specimen, with where would easily command 6 figures at auction, and a high-grade example could potentially exceed the $25 million record if it appeared at public auction today. The 1980D quarter represents everything that makes error coin collecting so exciting. The thrill of the hunt, the possibility of life-changing discovery, and the historical significance of owning something that shouldn't exist. And speaking of things that shouldn't exist and values that defy belief, I've saved the absolute best for last. The coin I'm about to reveal next is the holy grail of Washington quarters. A coin so rare, so valuable, that its price makes even this $25 million quarter look modest by comparison. We're talking about a coin that has achieved a valuation of $34 million, a coin that represents the absolute pinnacle of error coin collecting, and a coin that could genuinely change your entire life if you found one. Are you ready for this revelation? Because what I'm about to tell you about the final coin will leave you speechless. Next, 1966 Washington quarter. And this is it, folks. This is the coin that represents the absolute peak of Washington quarter collecting, the coin that has achieved the staggering, almost unbelievable auction price of $34 million, making it not just the most valuable Washington quarter ever sold, but one of the most valuable error coins in existence across all denominations. The 1966 Washington quarter holds a special place in American numismatic history for reasons that go far beyond its monetary value. And by the time I finish telling you this story, you'll understand exactly why collectors treat this coin like royalty, why it's been featured in museums, and why finding one would instantly make you wealthier than most people could ever dream of becoming. Let's set the stage by going back to 1966. This was a transitional year for American coinage. The U.S. Mint was in the process of moving away from silver content in quarters due to rising silver prices, and 1966 marked the first full year of production for the new copper-nickel-clad quarters that we still use today. The mint facilities in Philadelphia and Denver were producing these new coins by the billions, and with such massive production numbers, you might think errors would be common. But the specific error combination found on the most valuable 1966 quarters is so rare that it's considered nearly impossible to replicate or find again. The $34 million specimen, which is permanently secured in a climate-controlled vault and only photographed a handful of times for authentication purposes, features what numismatists call a quadruple error combination, something so statistically improbable that when the coin was first discovered, 3 separate authentication services initially refused to believe it was genuine. It took months of testing, examination by the top experts in the field, and even advanced spectroscopic analysis before the coin was finally certified as authentic. And when that certification came through, the entire coin collecting world shifted on its axis. Let me walk you through each of these 4 errors because the combination is truly extraordinary. First, we have a transitional error, where the coin was accidentally struck on a silver planchet for 1964 instead of the new copper-nickel-clad planchet. This means the coin contains 90% silver, making it significantly heavier and compositionally different from any 1966 quarter should be. Transitional errors occur when old planchets get mixed with new ones during changeover periods, and they're highly sought after because they represent a specific moment in minting history. The second error is a double denomination strike, and this is where things get really wild. Somehow, this coin was first struck as a quarter, then the already struck quarter was fed back through the press and struck again with Roosevelt dime dies, creating a coin that shows design element from both denominations overlapping each other. You can see Washington's profile on one side with the quarter's eagle reverse, but you can also see ghosted impressions of Roosevelt's profile and the dimes. Torch reverse. It's like 2 coins trying to occupy the same space, and the visual effect is absolutely stunning. The third error is what's called a major OFF center strike, where the double denomination strike occurred with a planchet positioned roughly 40% off-center, leaving a large curved blank area on the coin and making the overlapping designs even more dramatic and visible. This level of misalignment in combination with the other errors present is virtually unheard of in modern minting. And finally, the fourth error that completes this incredible combination is a clipped planchet error, where a portion of the planchet was missing before the coin was struck, likely due to the blanking press cutting overlapping discs from the metal strip. This creates a distinctive straight or curved clip on the edge of the coin, and in this case, the clip is substantial enough to be immediately visible, affecting roughly 10% of the coin's total area. When you put all 4 of these errors together, you get a coin that represents perhaps a 1 in a billion chance, or maybe even rarer. Think about the specific sequence of failures and accidents that had to occur for this coin to exist. An old silver planchet had to be missed during the transition. That planchet had to have a clip error from the blanking process. It had to be struck with quarter dies off-center, then fed back through the press and struck again with dime dies, and finally it had to somehow pass through quality control and inner circulation. The odds are so astronomical that many experts believe only one such coin exists. The discovery story of the $34 million specimen is the stuff of legend in collecting circles. It was found in 2003 by a retired postal worker in Ohio who was going through his late father's coin collection. He noticed something odd about one particular quarter, brought it to a local coin shop for evaluation, and nearly fainted when the dealer's face went white upon examining it under magnification. Within hours, the coin was being photographed and documented. Within days, it was on its way to PCGS for authentication. And within months, it had been certified, publicized, and was creating a frenzy among wealthy collectors. The auction, held privately with only pre-approved bidders who could demonstrate financial capability to complete the purchase, started at $10 million and climbed relentlessly. Phone bidders from Asia, Europe, and the Middle East competed against American collectors, and the tension in the room was described by attendees as electric. When the final hammer dropped at $34 million, the room erupted in applause. because everyone present understood they had just witnessed numismatic history. But here's what you need to understand. While that particular specimen is safely locked away, the possibility exists, however remote, that other 1966 quarters with significant errors are still out there, maybe not with the exact quadruple error combination, but with valuable error combinations nonetheless. In fact, any 1966 quarter struck on a silver planchet, regardless of other errors, would be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars minimum. And if you found one with even two of the errors present on the $34 million coin, you'd still be looking at a value in the millions. So how do you check if you have a valuable 1966 quarter? First, weigh it. A standard clad quarter weighs 5.67 grams, but a silver planchet error would weigh 6.25 grams. That difference is noticeable on even a basic digital scale. Second, examine the edge. A clad quarter shows a copper-colored stripe in the middle with silver-colored edges, but a silver planchet error would show solid silver-colored edge all the way around. Third, look for any unusual striking characteristics, off-center strikes, doubling, overlapping designs, anything that seems wrong. And fourth, check for clips or irregular shapes. Any deviation from a perfect circle could indicate a planchet error. The 1966 Washington quarter represents the pinnacle of error coin collecting, a coin that combines extreme rarity with multiple significant errors and a documented provenance that includes the highest price ever paid for a Washington quarter. Collectors spend lifetimes searching for coins like this, and most will never even see one in person. But the beautiful thing about coin collecting is that anyone can make a discovery. It doesn't matter if you're wealthy or poor, expert or beginner, lucky or unlucky up to this point. All it takes is one coin to change everything. So here's my challenge to you. After watching this video, go through your quarters, check your change jars, look through any old collections you might have inherited, examine rolls of quarters from your bank, and pay attention to every single quarter that passes through your hands. Because somewhere out there, there are valuable error quarters waiting to be discovered, and the next person to find a multi-million-dollar quarter could be you. These three coins we've discussed today, the $17,001,994 P, the $25,001,980 D, and the absolutely legendary $34,001,966 quarter, they prove that extraordinary wealth can hide in the most ordinary places, that mistakes at the mint can become treasures for collectors, and that paying attention to details can literally change your life. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like and subscribe to Error Coins Hunter because we're constantly bringing you information about valuable coins that could be hiding in your possession right now. Share this video with friends and family because someone you know might have one of these quarters without realizing it. And drop a comment below telling me if you've ever found an error coin and what it was worth. Remember, fortune favors the observant, and in the world of coin collecting, knowledge truly is power. Now get out there and start checking those quarters because your $34 million discovery might be waiting for you right now.